Hello everyone, my name is Elisa Baum and I am Percona's Director of Product Marketing. We'll begin in just a moment, but first I'd like to conduct a bit of house cleaning. Could you please raise your hand using the hand icon located in the GoToWebinar control panel to let me know if you can hear me? Let's see, any hands out there? Okay, thank you very much. I see hands. Next, during this webinar, you will be on mute. Should you have any questions at all during the discussion, please go ahead and enter them in the questions field within the control panel. At the end of the webinar, we will take time to answer as many questions as possible. Those that aren't addressed will be answered in a follow-up blog entry on Percona's MySQL performance blog. In addition, a recording of this webinar will be made available to everyone within 48 hours. I'd like to thank you for attending today's webinar, Analyze MySQL Query Performance with Percona Cloud Tools, presented by Percona CTO Vadim Tkachenko. In addition, Matt Griffin, who is Percona's Director of Product Management, will be joining Vadim to first talk about the raffle that we have as part of this webinar, and then to participate in the question and answer section at the end of the show. So with that said, I'd like to turn the floor over to Vadim. Go ahead, Vadim.
Hello, Alisa, do you hear me?
Yes, you sound great.
All right, okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar instead of watching Olympic Games. So today I'm going to talk about performance. You might know I contribute to MySQL performance blog, and I also contributed to high performance MySQL book. So I'm just obsessed with performance, well, just a little bit. So I will talk about performance and how I define it. And the next I will talk about Percona Cloud Tools and how this project is related to performance questions. And at the end, I will show how in our project you can work with queries and queries metrics. So why do we care about performance at all? So as many things in our life, it usually comes to a question about money. We obviously want to get a return of our investment and to get expected results from what we paid for. And in case with databases, we pay for servers, for hardware, or for cloud servers, and we expect that the database executes queries properly. So performance is about task and time. And to put an example, we define a good performance in terms of our response time if a task executed in expected time. Say we order a lunch and it's served in 5 minutes, or in that from the database perspective, query executed within 3 milliseconds. And we define a good performance in terms of throughput if we see that expected amount of tasks executed in given time period. Say, like support engineer handled 20 cases per day, or again from database perspective, database executed 3,000 queries per second. And the question which often cause interest is what is more important, what should we pay attention? Is it response time or throughput? And the answer is not so obvious. And our response time is important if we care about users. If you owner of our website, and if your business run website, you want to serve your users properly. Say web page should be loaded in less than 1 second. And on the other hand, we worry about throughput if you want to get the best return from our investment. Say we paid for this server $10,000. So obviously you want the server to handle as many users as possible, say 100,000 users per day. We see kind of both throughput and response time are important, but unfortunately we not always we can have both. There is a well-known relation that the more users we have in the system, the worse response time is getting to some sticking point when the system is totally unresponsive. So we usually set a goal of performance optimization as we want to maximize throughput and handle as much users as possible per given period of time, but keeping a reasonable response time. And reasonable, I define, everyone define by themselves what is reasonable. For some website it is maybe 1 second, for some reporting application, and maybe minutes for query to return result. So now let me stop talking about performance and let's move to Percona Cloud Tools. And I just thought it's important to put our project into performance context, because I see Percona Cloud Tools is project which provide you tools to work on performance related tasks. And database job is execute query. This is what we expect from a database. So let's make sure that the database does this job properly. With Percona Cloud Tools, you can perform following tasks. This is a performance optimization. Say you want to find queries which runs just too long. Or you can do troubleshooting. If you find a query which just not executed properly, you might see and get some insights why this query took too long to execute. And also you can see, you can dig into history back to several days or week and see how query executed in the past. You can perform capacity planning. That's having historical information, looking on trends. You can estimate how server in overall or some particular query performed in future, so you can make some expectation how query performed in the past, and so you can make some estimations how query and database will perform in the future. And also you can do query reviews, like you want to know, are there new queries in database? Did you review this query before, or this is new query? Did the developer just deploy, did the new deployment and introduce it new law to your database? So you want to spot these new queries and review them. So we define that Percona Cloud Tools are designed for database users, for application developers who run queries and who interact with a database, or DBAs who performs day-to-day database related tasks. So we designed, I expect that most attendees of this webinar fits into these categories, and we designed the Percona Cloud Tools to make your work more efficient, because always we hear like query review is always on my to-do list. It is always important task, but I never do it because it's too complicated. It is time-consuming, so I just put it like task number 20 on my to-do. So it's never done. So we wanted to make your work with the query more efficient and to have finally this work done. On this, I would like to list a number of tools which you may know like alternatives to Percona Cloud Tools. Obviously, I will list. I will mention why I think Percona Cloud Tools is better. Obviously, if there are some tools which provide everything you need, we would not implement Percona Cloud Tools. So I am aware about following tools. There is obviously Percona Toolkit and the PT Query Digest, which is a command line tool. So you just need to run PT Query Digest from command line periodically and spot and perform queries review. But usually it is not quite a convenient way, and you need to do it manually periodically, or you need to install cron job, but then don't forget to check results. So as some improvement box implemented and made open source box anemometer project, which you can get download and install by yourself, but then again you will need to worry about this another application in your data center, and you will need to manage it by yourself. There is a MySQL Enterprise subscription which comes with a query analyzer. I should say it's quite a good product, and if you have an enterprise subscription, you might use it, but you need to be aware that you still need to install a MySQL proxy, which may not always be good for your performance of application. And like I said, it comes only with MySQL Enterprise subscription, which may be quite expensive. Also, there is a Monyog. I think Monyog doesn't provide a good enough history to look into past, so it only also provides only information on the current state of the system. And a new Relic, which I think a great tool for overall application performance, but as it comes to database, I don't think New Relic provides enough details to work with database queries. Okay, so let me review components of Percona Cloud Tools. So Percona Cloud Tools, to work efficiently, we need slow log files, and slow log files are available in Percona Server, Percona XDB cluster, MySQL, and MariaDB. Then you need to have installed the Percona Toolkit, and we use two components from Percona Toolkit. It is PT Query Digest and the PT Agent. And obviously, all reports about your queries hosted in Percona Cloud. So I draw this little diagram just to explain you how does it work. So MySQL generates slow log files, and then we analyze the slow log files with PT Query Digest, and we just run it periodically, say every 5 minutes, and then a PT agent generates reports, and reports are uploaded to Percona Cloud. From Percona Cloud, you can configure and manage your agent. And I should say that both PT agent and the PT Query Digest are available from Percona Toolkit, which open source, so you can go and check by yourself what these tools are doing. It's not like we're installing some closed source software on your servers. You always can check by yourself what do we do. So let's take a look into some snippet of slow log file with extended information in Percona server. You see it provides information about query plus some additional metadata like query execution time, information about rows, information about execution plan, and information about some InnoDB internals, like how many I/O operations and how many bytes InnoDB had to read to execute this query. So yes, a question which we often getting. So what really transferred to Percona Cloud? So let me explain it. So first we transfer summarized information about metrics like query time, temporary tables, bytes, and so on. Then we for each query we generate a query fingerprint, which basically to replace all constant by question mark. This way we kind of generalize queries that we can provide summary and report for particular query. So in this case, information about your schema, like schema name and column names, are getting transferred to Percona Cloud. Also, we transfer query examples, which if you're concerned about information and you're sensitive about it, which you can disable. So every so often we transfer a query example where some information, where some constant are not replaced by question mark. So if you this information may land it in Percona servers, and if you concerned about it, you always can disable passing this information. In that case, you on Percona Cloud Tools, you will be able to see only queries fingerprints. All right, so let me go quickly through installation process, which we tried to design as simple as possible. So first, you obviously need account on Percona Cloud Tools. You go to cloud.percona.com. Sorry, it is just a typo in my URL. It should be cloud.percona.com. You install Percona Toolkit on your MySQL server, and you perform PT agent initialization tasks. So for this, you will need API key, which is available from cloud.percona.com. When you make account, you will be able to access your API key, and then having this API key, you perform PT agent installation. After that, your agent should be visible in our agent configuration. You will need to enable query analytics module for that. And if you want, you can perform some fine-tuning about agent settings, like how often reports queries, what is query slow query long time, size of a log file, and we also can perform a slow log rotation for you. And like I mentioned before, you can disable sending examples of your query if you're concerned about sensitive data. Then after this, if all went fine, you will see that the agent and the MySQL are ready to perform their tasks. And after some period of time, usually it takes like 10-15 minutes before, because again we generate a report by default every 5 minutes. So and then agent will need to send data to Percona Cloud. So after some period of time, you will see agent reporting data, and you're ready to go. So full installation process is available on our blog. You can follow that one. You can follow that URL to read more about installation. If you have any question or issue, you can hit the support button in Percona Cloud Tools and ask for help, and Percona engineer will be happy to assist you. Or you can read our forums and ask a question in our community forums. All right, so in this part, I would like to go some specific how we can use Percona Cloud Tools. So, like I said, there are 4 primary use cases: performance optimization, troubleshooting, queries review, and capacity planning and training. So let's see about first task, performance optimization, which I name kind of find bad queries. When we look in data provided from your agent, you will see, we name it queries profile, which just provides general information about queries executed on the system, and you can choose a time period, or you can change sorting method, and you can see it is our focus here is time. So we provide total time information. Total time is sum of individual executed query. So we provide this total time for all that whole database server. That is sum of all queries, and we provide this total time for individual queries. Along with that, we show max time and 95 percentile. And we show how many queries in general were executed. This is to summarize most interesting metrics I pay attention when I work with query profile. So total time again, it's a sum of individual queries, and queries with the biggest total time, I define it like they put most load on the server. We also might be interested in max time, because just to make sure we don't have queries that run away and unexpectedly took very long time. And also max time kind of define worst user experience. But which might be more interesting, it is 95 percentile. So this is time which users experience in most cases. And having total time and wall clock time, we can kind of calculate load on the server. So let me show you examples from a real account. This is our MySQL performance blog, and I show you their queries from MySQL performance blog. Obviously, you see is all tables kind of is VP underscore. It is a WordPress based queries, so we can get idea what kind of WordPress load puts on this server. And chosen time period is 1 week, but we can see that the total time which took to execute all queries in only 14 hours from a whole week. So I defined the load on a server. Load on server is quite small. So it is less than 8%, more like only 9% of all time database was busy to execute real queries. So I would define that load on the server is light. So let me show you another example. This server I put a benchmark, a quite heavy benchmark workload on this one server, and we can see, so for last 1 day, actually load was 9.3, which and if you look in total time, it actually took 9 days to execute all queries. So within 1 day time period, overall query execution was 9 days. Well, you might say how it's possible. It is possible because obviously database is able to execute query in parallel. Current servers comes with 16, 24, 32 CPUs, so we can database can execute queries in parallel. But overall, I see the load on this server is quite intensive. Now we can change method to how we sort queries to spot biggest queries that took max time, and we can see that some queries took 4 seconds to execute. Okay, let me change sorting back, and I would like to go to some specific query. Let's take this one. So when we choose this query, now we can go in details for one specific query. And again, what is interesting for us, it is a query time. We can see so that in 95% of cases, the query took only 5.5 milliseconds to execute, which is quite fine. But we also can see that in the worst cases, it took up to 4 seconds to execute. What does it mean, say, for if this data comes from your web server? Say it says you that 95% of users, say 95 users out of 100 users, they had quite good experience if this query to be executed from web page. But there are some users which just for them query just took 4 seconds to execute, and you will need to define for yourself, is it acceptable for you or not, and if it's not acceptable, you may want to perform some fixes to change that. Also, with this query time, we also can see historical information for last 1 day, because I chose 1 day period. So we can see how query performed during last day. So right now we have a total summary of execution time, but we can go to individual query executions, and let's switch to 95 percentile. And we can see that in general during the day query performed quite well. There was only like up to 6.2 milliseconds, 95 percentile, which is quite good for me. But when we switch to maximum time, we see that during the day there are still some queries, which took like from 2, 3, 4 seconds to execute. Why is that? There we may go to extra information, say AnyDB IO. So we see there that query actually sometimes it takes IO to perform a server need to perform AnyDB IO to execute a query. And again, when we switch to 95 percentile, you see that in most cases it takes only up to 16 kilobyte, which somewhat like one AnyDB page in size. So in 95% cases, AnyDB just reads one page from disk to execute this query. But in worst case, we see that queries usually takes 1.3 megabytes of reads from disk to execute. So I think this what contributes to our execution time. So and if you can see an AnyDB read waits, this is time of how long it took to perform a specific I/O. You see that sometimes it took like 4 seconds to perform I/O operations. Again, I define this query, this server as heavy loaded, and that's why probably our I/O subsystem saturated, and some individual queries they took 4 seconds to perform I/O. All right, so now I did recover a little bit troubleshooting, but I will show you more examples. So with Percona Cloud Tools, we're looking to provide also information why this query took too long to execute, what caused these queries to take that time. So there are some specific metrics you might want to look into. It's just how many rows sent. If there's too many rows, maybe application does not need all these rows. You might need to look into ratio rows examined against rows sent. If ratio is too big, if queries examined many rows but sends only a little, maybe a query performs some unnecessary work. You need to look into temporary tables. Are there temporary tables involved? Usually temporary tables are bad for performance. Is there a file sort operation? Is there I/O operation performed, like I showed you in the previous example? Are there more than 3 tables in select join? And I would like to say that in this webinar I don't show techniques how to fix query. I only show probably some ideas how to find and get idea why this query takes long, but I don't show how to fix it. It's just too wide topic and far beyond this webinar. We have a lot of materials on our blog, on our webinars, and we have our consulting service to help you to fix queries if you still need help with it. So let me switch to another server. This is one I run some queries to play with. So let's take a look on this one query. We can see that actually it took 8 minutes. In the worst case, it took 8 minutes to execute. I ran this query 3 times, and in worst case, it took 8 minutes. So why it took so long for this query to execute? So let's see into matrix rows examined. We see that in average, or in worst case, it just took 10 million rows to handle. And even if it had to work with 17 million rows, this query returned only 50 rows as the result. So that's an example which I referred to, that query handles just millions rows inside, but returns only 50 rows to end user. And this may be fine for analytical database when you run some queries with group by, with average, with count, but for a website and for online processing, this is not appropriate. Following information we looking is temporary tables. We see that with every execution there was 3 temporary tables to execute. Some temporary tables were created on disk, which is even slower, that the MySQL database had to perform I/O operations, and also size of these temporary tables. So in worst case, temporary tables with size 1.2 gigabytes was created. And to that query had MySQL had to perform a file sort to execute this query. So we get an idea about these metrics. Percona Cloud Tools provide you more information about query. This is query example which I mentioned before. So this meant for convenience for you, so you can copy this query and run explain for this query in your database. Even I said I will not go into details how to fix queries, but usually the first step to fix query is to run explain for this query. And I know the request I hear often is to be able to run explain just in Percona Cloud Tools. Unfortunately, we don't do that yet, but we will do it in future. For now, you just can copy this query and run explain in your database to get information about query execution plan. And also you can see that this query took three different tables. This query handled 3 different tables to perform. So this also might be a signal that this query might need some attention to optimize it. All right, and yeah, on this slide I highlight you areas which I just walk through. So these areas which you may need to pay attention when you work with query troubleshooting. So let me mention this again. This rows sent, rows examined, merge passes. Usually my signal about some bad performance, because in this case query performs not only file sort but also file sort on the disk. Temporary tables, like I said, and also full scan metric. Full scan usually means that a query, to execute query, MySQL had to perform full table scan. And sometimes it's okay, but in most cases we expect queries to have tables to have proper index, that MySQL does not need to perform full table scan. And again, how many temporary tables were used for this query. Now, feature which we implemented recently, it is a query review. Again, this is to spot are there new queries in a database. It's to detect new queries. Like if you have a big team, you might know that the DBA does not always get along well with developers, because these developers always put some crazy queries into database, and they don't just care about how this query works. So we propose this kind of collaboration tool. So you just don't need to hate developers, but communicate with them. And you might mark some queries which they need attention. that you review that queries. You can put comments to some particular query to communicate with your team, and you can label and tag queries as you need. So let me show you another live example. Again, let's use this particular query. Let's use this server, and let's choose this query. So if you look in the query example and you have some experience working with database, you will get idea this is a query from MySQL dump. So obviously on this server backup is done using MySQL dump. We also can confirm this with a full table scan. Obviously, to run select star from table, MySQL usually performs full table scan. So we see MySQL used full table scan to perform backup. So yeah, we can then go and mark this query reviewed. Okay, we know that we do backup with MySQL dump, and we can tag this query like backup query. And you can go and say to your team, hey, this is all good. This is MySQL dump. All right. So and then you will be able to see any information that a query reviewed. The query has comments and the query marked as backup. And if you need, then you can additionally filter out queries by additional characteristics like reviewed, need attention, like a previous example. Oh, this query just too bad, this need attention, and you might signal to your developers that they need to do some work on this query. So you see in query profile, query marked as needs attention. All right, and then last use case is we see that Percona Cloud Tools can be used for capacity planning and training. So looking into past, we can estimate how query will run in future. So there are some examples. These examples from MySQL performance blog back to November. So this is for last 3 months. You see that usually there is no uptrend. So server performs, I think, just fine all these months, and we, beside only one spike, which might need additional investigation, I think server is going to be fine for a near future, and then we can examine the trend again, say in a couple of weeks. Or there another example from this backup query. Let me again switch back to this backup query and choose 3 months time frame. So and then we can run this query time back to 3 months history, and we see actually so that from day to day query takes longer and longer to execute. And also we can see it's from rows handled. So you see this is a clear upgoing trend for this query, and this is kind of explainable. This is a backup from production server, and we getting more and more data every day. So every day MySQL dump has to back up more and more rows. But we see this ongoing trend, and my clearly predict how this query will perform next month, and if this upgoing trend is acceptable for us or not. So right now we see that backup queries already take 6,000 seconds in total to execute. And we need to understand, is this acceptable for us or not, or what is upgoing trend, how long it will take next month to execute. Maybe we need to change our backup method or invest into better I/O and better storage, or make some educated decision in future how we handle backups. Now we on a 45 minutes mark. I would like to just mention a little bit about our roadmap. So we are going to show or provide even more metrics for database server. We're going to show MySQL status metrics, or maybe go even beyond the MySQL to show you CPU, memory, I/O, or network statistics. We're going to implement a better agent. Right now it's Perl based, and we not always like it. And also we're getting a lot of requests to support Amazon RDS. If you remember my diagram, that right now agent works with slow logs, and it works on the same server with a database. And Amazon RDS just does not support it. So with the new agent, we are looking to ways also to handle Amazon RDS queries. And of course, we open for your feedback. That obviously these tools are designed for you. So what do you think is important? Please provide us feedback. Of course, I don't promise to implement every single request, but the request which will get most votes, of course, we will look into. So please give us your feedback. So to conclusion, Percona Cloud Tools, it is a graphical interface tools to perform performance tasks. And now you will have no excuse to not do query review. I believe we provide great graphical, convenient tools to do that. So go and register on the cloud.percona.com and try our reports. And, remember, we're still in beta, and we still have a lot of work in progress and a lot of ideas to implement. So expect for project to change rapidly. For example, that query review stuff I showed you was implemented just last week. And we have new features coming. At the end, I would like to remind you that we have biggest and the best MySQL conference coming in April. You still have time to register with advanced rates, and even to get 10% discount using our webinar SC code. So if you ever work with MySQL, I strongly suggest you attend this conference. I will be there. All Percona, not only Percona Cloud Tools developers will be there, but Percona Server, Percona X3DB cluster experts will be there, and we will be able to answer on your questions. So I hope to see you there. And now I would like to introduce Matt Griffin, Director of Product Management in Percona. He will tell you about more about this contest and ask me questions. Hey, Matt.
Thanks, Vadim. Hey, Vadim. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Great. Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that's attending that we are having a contest, and we are raffling 60-minute, five 60-minute MySQL query consulting sessions with Vadim, where he'll use Percona Cloud Tools, the query analytics feature, to analyze your queries and provide feedback and performance suggestions. If you haven't completed the steps of, obviously you registered with webinar, but creating a Percona Cloud Tools account and then setting up query analytics on at least one database server, please do today to meet the deadline for the contest. And we'll notify the winners early next week, and we can work on scheduling those sessions. So with that, let's go ahead and kind of move into the questions. We've got a few great questions from some of you. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions, please type them in, and we'll get to them. And if we don't have time to get to them, we'll have a blog post at the Performance blog with answers. So the first question was about installing locally. Will Percona Cloud Tools be available to be installed locally, keeping the data in-house?
Okay, Matt, yes, I'm getting this question a lot, and I should say yes, we have plans to implement that. We understand that some companies too worry about their data and their queries, and we are going to respect that. So we are looking to implement a solution hosted locally. I can promise this will be implemented soon, but sometime during this year we're going to do that.
Great, great. Next question is, can Percona Cloud Tools be used in non-production environments?
Yes, absolutely, and actually I should mention that before. We recommend also to run it not in production environment, say in QA environment or in staging environment. In this case, you can spot bad queries early, and you can spot new queries much earlier before they land to production. So it is even more useful to run it in not production servers.
Okay. Next question, will Percona Cloud Tools deliver advice on what to do to improve statements like missing indexes, like other tools like the SQL Advisor from Oracle does?
Yes, we have this also in plans. I cannot say it's a near term. What we're going to do near term is that metrics I mentioned before, which to look into, we're going to kind of provide automatic highlights of queries with bad metrics, which performs temporary tables, a lot of I/O operations, a lot of table scans. So we are going to highlight these queries automatically. So this kind of will be advice what queries to look into that. But advice how to fix queries is also on our roadmap, but maybe it will be implemented later. But I cannot promise you when, because we just have a lot of ideas what to work on.
We got a few questions about performance, and one, do you see Percona Cloud Tools working nonstop in a production environment?
Well, that's exactly how we use it right now. So Percona Cloud Tools, PT agent, running nonstop, and taking all queries nonstop. Now I understand there might be concern about performance impact. So let me say this, yes, if you worry about performance impact, you can do following. Yes, you might not run PT Cloud Tools all the time, but the better way I see to handle this is to use a Percona server. And in Percona server, we have this kind of sampling method where we analyze not each individual query, but just like every one queries from 100 queries or one query from 1,000 queries. So if you have high load production, quite intensive load on production, you might want to analyze only one of 1,000 queries, and then performance impact will be minimal, I believe.
Okay. When will Percona Cloud Tools be ready for MySQL 5.6?
Well, it is already for MySQL 5.6 with slow logs, so there is no problem at all to work with MySQL 5.6. If a question is if we are going to support a performance schema, because MySQL 5.6 provides the same about the same level of query details in performance schema, then my answer is that we are going to support this when we see enough users of MySQL 5.6. Just yesterday, let me mention this, just yesterday Peter posted a blog post about comparing performance schema with slow logs, and he mentioned that adoption of MySQL 5.6 is just low. It just is a single digit percent. So right now we just would like to focus on biggest users, which is obviously 5.1 and 5.5 versions, and deliver more features for them. Then when MySQL 5.6 pickups, we will support performance schema in MySQL 5.6.
Okay. Got a few questions about the Percona Cloud Tools service it being in beta, and what when it leaves beta, what the costs of the service might be. Can you speak to that?
I think it is a better question to you as a product manager. What are your thoughts about pricing?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, we imagine there will be different levels of service. People have different use cases around what they need from Percona Cloud Tools. So there definitely will be some paid components. We also recognize that for many people this is a new thing, and it's important just to get started and to discover what you don't know in terms of the performance of your queries. And so we want to make that as easy as possible, and that there will be a free way to get started using the service and understanding the performance of your queries better.
Okay, so let me add. So there always will be free level. So just so you can register, you can try it, and I think it's important also to provide some meaningful amount of data to analyze. So it's not like few hours, but I believe that in free accounts we still will provide meaningful amount of days to be able to analyze query behavior back.
Right. Excellent. Got a question just about Percona Server. What platform can Percona Server be installed on? Only Linux or Windows also?
No, with Percona Server we don't support Windows. It's my main platform for Percona Server is Linux, and I know good deployments on Solaris, but we don't support Windows. Sorry, but if you need a Windows deployment and a good amount of metrics in Slowlog, there I can advise you to try MariaDB. So MariaDB I know provides binaries for Windows and provides the same amount of details in Slowlog like Percona Server.
Okay. And a question about the differences between Percona Cloud Tools and PT Query Digest, that it's a component of Percona Cloud Tools, but just some of the differences between
Okay, let me try to address that. Yes, PT Query Digest is a component of Percona Cloud Tools. PT Query Digest by itself, you need to run it manually and decompile these reports. So Percona Cloud Tools kind of optimize this work for you. So we run a PT Query Digest from cron every 5 minutes by default. You can change that, and every 5 minutes we summarize reports and make it available in the Percona Cloud Tools. So if I put this way, that the Percona Cloud Tools is PT Query Digest running every 5 minutes, and you see compiled report together from every five minutes run. Again, this way we're looking to make your work more efficient. Percona Cloud Tools is only console command line output in this single static report. Having all reports together for 1 day, for 1 week, for 3 months, you can see a whole more information and get much better insights what's going on inside your database.
Great, great. So we are at the top of the hour. We've gotten a few feature requests and the questions, and we'll log those. If you do have any additional feedback, it's as easy as just signing into your Percona Cloud Tools account and clicking on the feedback link at the bottom of every single page. We want to hear from you on how we can make this product better together. Elisa, do you want to kind of take it away and do kind of the wrap-up?
Yep, thank you guys. Thank you for a very good job. Everybody, thank you so much for attending today's session. Next week we're having a great session about monitoring and managing Percona XtraDB cluster as well as other clustering solutions, so I encourage you to sign up for that. That will be next Wednesday. And I would like to thank you for attending today's webinar. Have a wonderful day depending where you're coming from, or evening or morning, wherever. And thanks again, guys. Everyone have a great day.